Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. Well, usually a good start is this classmate needs no introduction, but in this case, we're going to have to do it because the man's changed in the last 50 years. And
It's,
apparently he ran an alias when he was in high school. So,
it's been a while.
yeah, yeah. So I am here today with Robert Dennis Lee, going by Bob Lee now, but back in the day, he was Dennis Lee to most of us. How's it, bro?
Yep.
How are you? Good?
How's it, Kermit? Good to see you.
Yeah. And where am I talking to you at? What state?
I am in Anchorage, Alaska.
All right. What's the temperature?
It's not bad today. It's like 25 degrees, so kind of mild,
Sounds good.
almost t-shirt weather.
Yeah. Geographically, are you in that area where you have like extremely longer days or nights and that kind of thing?
Um, no, the more north you go, the more drastic the changes are. So here it's not too bad. We get in the shortest, uh, probably the shortest day of the year, December 21st. We get about 5 hours of daylight.
Wow.
And then summertime, June 21st, we get 5 hours of it's kind of like twilight. It doesn't really get real dark.
I remember being amazed and impressed by it. Like here in Minnesota now in the summer, sun will stay up past 9 p.m.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really nice. And I think it was that way when I was in Oregon going to college. But
Yeah. Summertime up here is different. When we were small kids, we had to come in when the street lights came on. But over here, they don't come on. So all our high school football fields and softball fields, no more lights.
awesome. Okay, so let's get ourselves a starting point.
Okay.
Bob, what grade did you start Kamehameha?
I started Kamehameha in the eighth grade.
Oh, that's a little unusual.
It's
I,
very unusual. There was only two of us that got in on the eighth grade.
who was the other one?
Harold Stevenson.
Ah, I should track
Harold
down
Stevenson.
Harold. He'd have a
Yeah,
good
and
chat in him, I'm sure.
yeah, we both came from the same intermediate school too. We were classmates at the same intermediate school, and both of us got in. We were the only two that year.
Wow. Okay, so let's go back. Where did you do elementary?
I started elementary at Nu'uanu Elementary, and then we moved to the Windward side, and I finished up my elementary third grade through sixth grade at Aikahi Elementary.
Oh, okay. Was Jeff Noah there? Do you remember?
I man, I don't remember if he was there.
I'm trying to think if it was him or somebody else. I might be getting confused, but Aikahi, there was a few of us or a few
Yeah,
classmates that ran through Aikahi. So,
yep.
and then intermediate, you were where?
I
Aikahi
went to
still?
Kalaheo.
Ah, okay.
See, back then, Kalaheo was only seventh, eighth grade.
And then the high school would have been
The high school after that would have been Kailua. So
okay.
when I left Kalaheo, the class right behind me, they started adding the additional grades, and so the class of '76 was the first graduating class of Kalaheo.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I was only there for the seventh grade, and then eighth grade, I didn't really want to go to Kamehameha, but my mom and dad were like, "Yeah, you gotta go." And so I went and got accepted and made new friends.
Now, is there any Kamehameha legacy in your family? Parents,
No,
siblings?
no, my mom and dad both went to Roosevelt.
Okay. It popped in my head the other day, and I wanted to make sure I remembered to ask. Your last name Lee, is it a
Yep.
European Lee or an Asian Lee?
No, I'm Pake.
I
Yeah,
wondered. I mean, so, and do
yeah.
you
My
have
dad is. my dad is half Chinese, half Portuguese.
Oh, wow, there you go. That's enough to get
Um,
you in trouble, Bob.
that's a combination, man.
Awesome. Okay, so we're at Kamehameha. We're approaching graduation. What's happening with you? Are you already making a plan? Do you have a target once you
um,
graduate?
I didn't really have a plan. I I just like to play. I went out and surfed all the time, and I got through school. I got pretty good grades. Did pretty good on SAT, but I just decided to stay in Hawaii, and I went to the University of Hawaii, so I could stay home with my friends and go surf and stuff. But I took 16 credit hours that semester, and it was a bunch, man. It was a big load, and I realized that I couldn't finish college if I stayed there. There was too much distractions. The my friends. I would be driving to class with my surfboard on the rack on my car. I listened to the surf report. Go, oh man, I can make up this class today. Just so I yeah talked with my dad, and my dad was an airline pilot for Aloha Airlines.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. So he was an airline pilot, and so we talked about me becoming an airline pilot. And so we he and I started looking at universities, and in I think it was in October maybe of 75, I was at the UH, and he arranged a visit for me with the professor of aviation school at Purdue University to go up and talk to him. So he flew me up. I get the non-rev flight, go standby. It was back then. It was the United Airlines DC-8 nonstop to Chicago.
Wow.
So I flew up there and I met with this professor, and we had a good meeting and everything. And man, the next thing you know, my application was accepted, and I started at Purdue the following January.
Okay, now while we're still in high school, or maybe let me go through junior high, even maybe. Did you
Uh-huh.
have an interest in flying that early?
I always flying was always fun. I when my dad was when I was real small, I was like 5, 6 years old. I would go to work with my dad. He had his own inter-island commuter air service that he owned. He had
Wow.
two small little twin engine propeller airplanes, and I would go to work with him, and I would sit up in the front right seat, the co-pilot seat, and man, we would take these tourists all over the place. We take them back then. You could land at Kanapali. They had a runway there,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so we would drop tourists off there. And he had just started with Aloha Airlines as well, so he was working hard. He had four of us kids by that time, and so he was trying to feed everybody. So he was working two jobs, and we did a lot of flights into Kalapapa, and delivered stuff there and people in and out.
Well, it's one of my favorite places as far as beauty growing up being a Molokai boy. So,
Yep, yep, yeah.
um,
He would never let me get out of the plane. When we were at Kalapapa, I had to stay in the plane, and I never knew why, but I just stayed in the plane. When we went other places, my job was to get out of the plane and wipe down all the oil streaks on the engine and pick up the trash in the back on the floor and cross the seat belts, all that stuff.
wow. Okay, so you say there's four of you. Where are you in the lineup age-wise?
Well, I am the first of six.
Oh, but at the time your dad
At
started,
the time, there was only four of us.
wow,
Yeah,
six.
so I got
Dad
three
had to
sisters.
hustle.
I got three sisters and two brothers.
Okay.
And so at one point, he was working both these jobs, and he got called into the president of Aloha Airlines office. I think his name was Hung Wo Ching. He called him in. He said, "Bobby Lee, look, you cannot compete with us. You got to pick your job, your business, or our business. You can't keep competing with us. So so he sold his commuter business and just stuck with Aloha Airlines. It was good. He ended up being their chief pilot, and then eventually he moved on to United Airlines.
Hmm.
He moved on to United. He didn't like some of the things that were happening with the maintenance of the airplanes, and he had a good
That would be
friend
a
that was
factor for me. Yeah.
yeah, he had a good friend that was a mechanic there, and he said, man, they're not fixing these planes like they're supposed to be. He delivered all their 737s from Seattle. I remember he would go up there and he'd bring back this brand new 737 in the middle of the night. They'd pull up there and my mom would take us out there to meet him at the airport. And of course, when he brings the 737 from Seattle, he has to stop in San Francisco so he can make his shopping run. And we would unload all kinds of boxes of lap chong and everything from that he picked up while he was there. Back in those days, you could not buy Coors beer. You couldn't buy Coors beer in Hawaii; they didn't sell it. So, man, he would bring cases of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, curious, and it's a wild guess, but because dad was Bob and you're officially Bob, is that why you went by Dennis in
Yep.
high school?
That's
Okay.
that's why I went by Dennis. My whole life growing up, I was always Dennis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even now, when I go home, it's my family. They all call me Dennis.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
so
you go
when I
ahead.
went to Purdue, I started off, by everybody. I introduced myself as Dennis, but everything I had to fill out, all the paperwork, all my tests, everything, I had to put my whole first name. So it was just easier to go by Robert, and then eventually I shortened it to Bob.
Now, when you go to school for aviation,
Hmm.
is that like a major? Like you don't have to do
Yep.
anything else but just study that and
It's a major that the 2 year program is called was called aviation technology, and the 4 year program was professional pilot technology. So that's what I went into. And along with your flight training, you also take all the other courses that they feel are important to be an airline pilot. I had to take 4 semesters of physics. I had to take psychology and economics and a bunch of math and English and composite writing, all that stuff, just to kind of make you well rounded.
yeah.
And then when you get done, you come out with not enough hours to get on with the airlines, but you have all the qualifications.
As part of your time at Purdue, is there airtime?
Yep, yep, yeah. You can go there, you get your pilot's license, you get your commercial rating, your instrument rating, multi-engine rating, flight instructor rating, and your senior year you study with. We had two different airplanes that they put us in for flight engineer training: a DC-6 and a 707. And then so each one of those, we have simulators at the school for those. And then our check ride it was kind of fun. The senior year check ride was in Dallas, Texas with American Airlines as a flight engineer.
All
And
right.
then after that, you have everything you need except the hours. So you just got to go try to build flight time. And that's the hard part, is trying to build flight time to get enough time for the airlines to take you on.
What are your options? Pay for it yourself or be hired or
Yeah, there's basically 3 ways you can build flight time, and I did all three of them. But you can pay for it by renting the airplane. You can flight instruct by teaching other people, or you can get a job flying small airplanes, commuter airplanes, cargo, stuff like that.
oh, okay. And you did all that, all three types
Yeah, yeah, I
prior
flew
to
all.
graduation.
Yep, I went all over the country trying to pick up hours. One of the best jobs I ever had was towing a banner down at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because that was a fun job. I flew 100 feet off the beach all day long, and I flew a plane with no door on it, and I just wore shorts, t-shirt, and slippers. So
And
it didn't pay very well, but it was fun.
would your banner change depending on who
Yep,
paid for
yep,
it? And
yeah. Usually it was like four banner changes every day.
oh wow.
Yeah,
Is it just a real maybe simple matter of hooking, unhooking, and
yeah. They have the banner on the runway. It's actually on the taxiway, and they got these two poles that stick up with a cable that rope that comes down the middle. And what you do is you got a banner cable in the back of the plane, and when you swoop down to pick it up, you dive between these two poles and then pull up sharp, and the hook grabs this rope, and then it starts pulling the banner off the ground.
oh, okay. It's not like land stop.
No, no. The
Wow.
only time I landed was for gas and go bathroom.
Now, there's a curious question because I drive a school bus now, and occasionally we'll do team trips that are farther away.
Yeah,
And there have been moments every now and then when you just really kind of gotta go, and stopping is not an option. So
yep, yep,
I guess you deal with it one way or another,
yeah. Depends.
Okay, so you wrap things up at Purdue. Do
Yep.
you make a move at that point, or
Yeah. So, well, here's what happened at Purdue. While I was there, I made the mistake of getting involved with the university volunteer fire department. At that time, the university fire department had volunteer positions for the students, and you could be a volunteer there and get college credit for it. So I thought, man, this is a good way to pick up some elective hours. Just sit around the fire station, don't do much. Um, But I met the guys there, the full time guys. They were really, really cool. And growing up, I never had any kind of inclination of being a fireman ever. I never gave it two thoughts. But man, I'll tell you what, I got training and all that stuff. And when I went into my first structure fire, I got the bug. The adrenaline rush and running into the fire. It was just there was no other feeling like it. And I thought, man, I could do this. This is fun. And so the more I did it, the more I liked it. And my senior year there, I volunteered all the years I was there. And my last year there, I was fortunate enough to be in a position to save a young girl's life in a second story fire. She was 3 years old, and she crawled under the bed to hide, and they couldn't find her. So we found her and we brought her out, and she lived. I handed her to her mom, and you know that I think that set the hook right there. I kind of half-heartedly finished my aviation career or training, but I knew in my heart I really wanted to be a firefighter.
oh,
So I didn't want to make that call to my dad because man, he spent plenty of money for me to go to Purdue and become an airline pilot. But I had to do it, and I called him and I said, Dad, I think I want to be a fireman. And he goes, Don't be ridiculous. And I said, No, I'm serious. I really like this line of work. And he was really mad. He got pretty upset. We didn't talk for a long time. And so I couldn't afford to go to any kind of a fire academy. I didn't really have money saved up, kind of a broke college guy. So I decided at that point, my best course of action was probably to join the Air Force. So I joined the Air Force because the Department of Defense had probably the best firefighting school in the nation. And I joined the Air Force, went to firefighting school, and from there they shipped me to Alaska.
now I'm just going to take a wild stab at this because I know it's a large population, but I met a guy in San Antonio from Kailua. He was a federal firefighter, Air Force.
Mhm.
Guy named George Wong. Ring any bells or anything? Or
Um,
yeah.
man, I know a lot of Wongs, but
So, okay, let me see. So you start heading in kind of a newer direction, and I feel for you because I think it's a generational thing. But like my dad, once he had an idea set in his mind,
yeah,
there was no option B,
yep, yep,
his way or the highway kind of deal. So
yeah.
I know the pressure you felt making that call, brother. I feel for
It
you,
was
man.
it was hard, man. It was hard.
So, when do you change locations? Or you're in the Air Force. So did you do training in San Antonio?
I did. I went to boot camp in San Antonio, basic training.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I was there from 81 to 90, 92, 93. So
Okay.
we we had a
We
huge.
were there together then
What year were you there?
because I was there for basic training from I think the June 20th or so, 81, and for 6 weeks.
Oh, okay. Probably right at the very beginning because I think I touched ground in San Antonio in maybe early June. So yeah, right
Oh,
at the
okay.
very beginning. So, but
Okay.
with all the time that I spent there, we ended up with this humongously huge Hawaii club because of all the military bases. I mean, it would bring the people in, and
Yeah.
the ones that ended up staying for a while at least, because none of them really stayed that long. But
Yep. Yep.
we probably got up to close to 400 members at one point. So
Oh man.
yeah. So where is your first duty station?
Elmendorf Air Force Base, Anchorage, Alaska.
Okay,
Yeah, that's where
okay,
they sent me. And it was really weird. I was the only kid in my fire class that was, from Hawaii or a southern state that was warm. And I'm the only one that got sent somewhere cold. Everybody else got like these really nice bases. But I think, it was meant to be. It was meant to be. I came up here and I never left.
wow. Have you gotten to travel through other parts of Alaska then, or
Yeah, I've been all over Alaska. I've been, one of the nice things about Alaska is if you're a pilot and you have access to aircraft, you can go see stuff that nobody else sees.
oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when I take off out of here, 20 minutes after I'm gone from Anchorage, it's like you're in a National Geographic movie.
I can almost imagine. I'm kind of half-heartedly watching this reality thing called Alone, and they're up
Hmm.
about 120 miles north of the Arctic Circle, and
Yep.
they drop them. And but I mean, as they're wandering around, man, this woman discovers a lake, and I mean, I swear it looks like somebody created it on purpose. I mean, it ideal. Lake, mountains, trees, just you
Yeah.
know, oh golly.
Yeah. So I've been
So,
here a while. So, what happened was I got up here. I did my tour was 4 years at Elmendorf. And at the end of those 4 years, I got orders to go to Minot Air Force Base.
in the Dakotas, yeah.
Minot, yeah, yeah. And I had heard a lot about Minot, and I really didn't want to go to Minot because I made a lot of friends in Alaska, and I really liked the flying up here. So I went and talked to some folks there and what my options were. I didn't really want to get out of the military. I still had, I think, 9 months left on my military commitment when I would have gone to Minot. So I couldn't just say I quit. So they had this program called Palace Chase, And Palace Chase allows you to take whatever time you have left active duty, and you can join a Air National Guard unit that's in that city, but it doubles your commitment. So I had to do 18 months with the Air National Guard in order to be square. So at Anchorage International Airport, there was a Air National Guard unit. They had a fire department there, and I went and talked to the chief, told him what I was thinking about doing. And he goes, "Man, we'd love to have you here. You know, we're always looking for people, especially people that come straight out of the Air Force." So I went back and I did put in the paperwork and I got my Palace Chase. And instead of going to Minot, I stayed here and went to the Air National Guard. Now, the Air National Guard, it's a part time job. So you're just there 1 weekend a month. So I had to find work. Luckily, right next door to Elmendorf, they have a Army base called Fort Richardson. And I went out there and applied out there to be a civil service firefighter. And I got hired.
Wow. Okay.
So, so I ended up being a civil service firefighter right here in Anchorage. Um, and I did that for 3 years. Um, I extended my enlistment out at the Air National Guard for 4 more years. And so I was doing both. I did the civil service firefighting at Fort Rich and then the Air National Guard firefighting out at Anchorage Airport. And in 1988, in May of 1988, the fire chief there, he'd been there 35 years. He decided to retire and he convinced me to put in for his job. Because I said, "Chief, who do you think's going to come in and take your place?" He goes, "Yeah, they don't have any idea. You should put in for it." I said, "Yeah, right. I'm going to replace you." And so he told me, he says, "Hey, look, here's the deal. You put in for it. Man, if you don't get it, you're not any further behind than what you are now. You're right where you are, But if you do get it, it could be life changing." And so I put in for it. And after 3 interviews with the commanders of the squadron there, I got selected.
Wow.
And it was a full time active duty position. So I was back to active duty again. And it's nice. It's called Active Guard and Reserve. So you have all the benefits of being active duty, but you don't have to go to a different base. You just stay there. And so I stayed there, and I was the fire chief there at that guard base at Anchorage International for the next 16 years.
That's an awesome step, man.
Yeah, and it was great. It was a really really great move, and I learned a lot. Um, made lots of mistakes, but I learned from them, and ended up staying on. The nice thing about that job out there is that we would go on these 2 week deployments, and we go all over the place. We went to Japan and Korea and Okinawa and Thailand, a bunch of bases in the lower 48, Germany, down to the Caribbean. So we got to travel a lot and see a lot. But it was 2 weeks later, you were back home.
So that 2 week stint, is that kind of like TDY almost, or?
Yeah, it's a 2 week TDY active duty because as the part time guard members, what they're required is they have to do 1 week in a month and 15 days a year. So, and then eventually I got in real good because I was a fire chief. So I got in real good with some of the active duty fire chiefs, and I got to be real good friends with the active duty fire chief at Hickam Air Force Base. And so we coordinated our requests, his request to have a guard team come in and my request to have our guard team go train. We coordinated that with each other so that when they hit the people that schedule everything, they meshed and they go, "Oh man, this guy needs the guard team. This guard team wants to go." And we went to Hickam a lot.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah, it was fun.
Understanding the paperwork helps, right?
Yeah, yeah. And we were our command was Pacific Air Forces command. So um, every time, about once every quarter, we would have a big um, fire chiefs meeting from all the fire chiefs in the command, and it was always at Hickam. So about once every 90 days, I flew down there and had my meeting.
Wow. Find a Zippies or whatever while you're there, and
Everything, man. I'd buy the stuff I couldn't buy up here and load it up, and we fly down there on the military jet, so I didn't have the restrictions of baggage.
man, that just sounds like it all fell into place, man. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
and I still fly up here. I fly for fun now. Just it's a little bit different when you can fly when you want to fly, and when you don't want to fly, you don't have to fly, which was different than what I was used to going through college. Some of the jobs I had, you didn't want to fly, but you knew if you didn't fly, they would bring someone else to take your place.
now help me out with the math. Then you did 16 years as the fire chief.
Hmm.
Where are we at? What year are we at right then?
So I finally I retired from the Air National Guard in 2004. June
Okay.
of 2004, I retired. Um, I had 24 years in, and it was time. It was time to go. I had just come back from the desert, and back in those days, 2003, 2004, when I got sent over to be the fire chief at Baghdad International Airport, it was not a friendly place. And I had heard through the grapevine that I was going to have to go back there again 6 months after I came home, but this time for a year. And I said, no, you know what? There's got to be a better way to make $1.50 a day than doing that. So
When you
I
were
got out.
home for reunion, by chance, did you get to meet Kathy Chow Fonseca's husband?
I don't think so.
Okay,
When
because
I
he
was home
was
for the reunion, it was kind of a last minute thing, and so I didn't go to most of the functions. The only thing I really went to was the night that we all went out to Mai Tai bar.
okay. Because I think I caught you for a minute that night, and you were there with your son, right?
Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, he's still
Okay.
there.
Yeah, because Kathy's husband is retired federal firefighter also, and he knew George. So,
Oh, okay.
and George was with KBD a little bit later in Baghdad for a while too. But he was,
Uh
yeah,
huh.
he told me some scary stories. So
Yeah, it was not. It was. There's really no reason I would ever want to go back there. I don't think.
he said they had a mortar shell come through one of the fire engine doors, and everybody's taking off, and then
Yeah.
wait, tick tick tick, and nothing happens, and there's this live shell just sitting on the floor, and they're
Yep.
like, okay, so
Yeah.
they called in
Then
the
you.
people that know what they're doing, and
Yeah, you just got to evacuate and call in EOD and let them take care of it. But when I was
yeah,
there,
he said that's
I was there when we didn't really know what they were bombing us with. There was a big scare about chemical weapons. So anytime we came under attack, it was full chem gear and lights out. That's when I made my decision to retire. I was sitting under a desk in my chem gear in the dark, and I thought, man, I I got to do something different than this. We were using the Iraqi fire trucks when I first got there because our trucks hadn't arrived yet. But most of them we couldn't fill all the way up because they had bullet holes in the side of the tanks, and they would just rain water out like a sprinkler.
oh my gosh. So you retire then, and what's your next move?
So I retired, and I was young. I was still 2004, so I was still pretty young, and I really didn't want to stop working. So I had been training part time. I had to take my military leave and use my military leave to go to do this training, but I was training part time as a contractor for the state of Alaska down at the fire training center in Kenai. We have a big aircraft fire training center down there that they just opened up in '98. And so I had been down there quite a bit doing training for them. And when I retired, the director of the training center offered me a full time job.
Wow.
So I
Man, you're
said,
just
man,
walking right into you've had a
yeah,
blessed life, my man.
it was good. The only problem with that was, Kenai is about a 3 hour drive from Anchorage. And I lived in Anchorage. My kids were in high school and elementary school, and I really didn't want to take them out of school and have them move. So I ended up commuting. And
Wow.
it was kind of rough. Luckily I had my airplane, the one that you see in the background. Um, I built that in my garage.
Oh,
Yeah. And so I had that airplane, and it allowed me to commute back and forth because with the airplane, it's 20 minutes.
oh, there you go.
Yeah. So 20 minutes. I have a little uh, beater with a heater down there in Kenai that I can get back and forth from the airport to the training center. And it made a big difference.
Now, question for you, Bob. When I look at that,
Hmm.
there's two wheel standings, but no front wheel. Does it retract or
Yeah. Yeah. The
okay?
nose wheel retracts. The main gear stays out. When the guy that designed the airplane, he designed it, they tested it both ways. They tested it with retractable main gear and fixed main gear. And the difference in performance was only about 5 to 7 knots. And so he decided to market the kits or the plans, we put the plans with them as fixed gear, fixed main gear. And that way, it just eliminates that whole set of problems you have with retractable landing gear. The reason the nose gear retracts, though, is without me sitting in the plane, it's tail heavy because the engine's in the back.
Ah, okay.
And
I
so
get
without
that.
me sitting in the plane, if it's on all three wheels, it'll tip backwards. So we retract the nose gear and set it down on its nose when it parks, and it's very stable that way.
Huh.
Good
How
plane
long
though.
does
It's a
it
good.
take? How long does it take you to put that together?
So you get a set of plans, and off the set of plans, they tell you what raw materials to order. And so I ordered the materials, and about 6 weeks later, a truck dropped off 2 pallets in my driveway of stuff, and it's all foam and fiberglass. And that's one of the reasons I decided on that design because almost every kid in Hawaii has built surfboards at one time or another. And so for me, I was, man, it's just like a big surfboard. So I started on
Amazing.
that in 1992, and in April of 1996, I was done and test flying it.
Wow. And you still have it.
And I still have it. Yeah. In fact, my best friend liked it so much that he ordered the plans, and we built one for him too. So now there's two of them up here.
How many children do you have, Bob?
Let's see. I got four that I'm pretty sure about. The college days were kind of a blur, but no, I got four wonderful kids, and two girls, two boys, and yeah, they're great. I had them all with my. I've been married 3 times, and I had them all with my second wife. So they got grown up, gone out of the house, and we just decided it was a good time for us to go our separate ways, and so we separated pretty on pretty good terms. And a couple of years later, I met the girl that I'm married to now. She's
Awesome.
yeah, just she's my last one, man. That's it. Third time's a charm.
Any of them have any flying interest?
Um, Not really, not really. I've taken them up for rides and stuff. Um, yeah, they don't really have a lot of my daughter, my oldest daughter. She kind of wanted to fly, but man, she's too busy with life to take the time out to do it. But she's the what is she? She's a vice president of a medical clinic up here in Anchorage, so she's doing real well for herself now.
Awesome.
But she likes flying. She's always like, "Hey, can you take me to Kenai? Can you take me to Homework?"
Well, I've always been fascinated by the travel time savings.
Hmm.
From where I live in southern Minnesota to get up to Minneapolis is about 2.5 hours by car. And so I thought that'd be nice to cut that down to, like you say, 20, 30 minutes or whatever,
Yep. Yeah. 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 It makes a big difference. They have a commuter plane that flies between Anchorage International and Kenai that I jump on sometimes when the weather's really crappy. But most of the times I just take my airplane and I pass them up. I go faster than the commuter plane.
Wow.
But it's a good plane. It takes me 12 hours. If I go 2 6-hour legs, gets me to Great Falls, Montana.
All right. I went to go see a cousin of mine who lives in Libby up
Hmm.
near the Glacial Park. And I drove out there from here August of 24, I guess that would have been. And my God, what a beautiful state. So I can only imagine a step or two up from there to be in Alaska.
Yeah.
My
Yep.
gosh.
Yeah. It's beautiful up here. I tell people all the time they ask me to describe what it's like to fly up there around the mountains and the glaciers and everything, and I go, man, I could probably describe it to you, but it's really hard. It's like trying to give someone a haircut over the phone. It's you just got to come up and experience it. And I feel so bad that I haven't stayed in touch with my classmates because now I'm finding out that lots of them have been up here and I never knew it. And so, if anyone ever wants to come to Alaska, feel free to get a hold of me because, man, I have access to airplanes and boats and helicopters.
Wow,
We
there
can
you
have some
go.
fun.
Oh, now you got me thinking, man.
I'll tell you what, man, I'll tell you what, there's nothing like flying a helicopter up and landing on the glacier, shutting it down, getting out of it, just standing on ice that's, 300,000 years old.
Is it a big step to go from learning how to pilot a plane to operating a helicopter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't fly the helicopter. I just have friends that have helicopters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The best way I can describe flying a helicopter to people is take a chopstick and try and balance a bowling ball on it. You're always trying to balance that ball the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
So my hat's off to people that fly helicopters. I know Kalani over on the Big Island flew helicopters, and it's kind of funny because that when you know them in high school, you would never imagine they would be a helicopter pilot, right?
yeah.
But man,
That was that way for God, a large number of the chats we did.
yeah, yeah.
Now, did you see any chats that involved people you knew fairly well to the point where maybe it'll help you
Hmm.
reestablish a connection again? Or because
Yeah,
I've had that happen a few times.
I think in the last few days, I probably sent out like 12 friend requests on my Facebook page.
Well, if you need any help with more direct contact information, I've got a ton of it.
Yeah.
So,
I've always kept in touch with Earl Kealoha.
oh, okay.
Um, yeah. Earl and I were good friends in high school the whole time. And he ended up in the fire department. I ended up in the fire department. So we kind of had that common thing. And we kind of kept in touch over the years.
That's awesome.
So when I showed up at the 50, it was kind of funny because he was just taking me around to everybody. Because you know who this is. You know who this is.
Well, I know along with probably everybody else, I was that way only because physically you changed a lot
Yeah.
because you've gotten taller
Fatter.
and that's all of us. But I mean,
Grayer.
just yeah. And I remember in high school, your hair was a lighter color, probably from all the sun and
Yeah,
surf.
it was kind of a brownish, dark brown.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then now looking at your email address, the word consulting is in there. So, how do you
Hmm.
keep busy these days?
So what happened was, like I said, I got hired by that training center full time. 3 years later, the company that was operating that training center decided to pull out and not operate it anymore. So the training center is owned by the city of Kenai. Um, when they backed out of it, we got our pink slips, and we were done. They said, "Hey, 6 months, the end of the year, you guys are done. We're not going to do this. Not renewing our contract anymore." And they were the company that ran that training center was a defense company out of Baltimore, Maryland, called Aircraft um, Aircraft Armament Incorporated. They were started during World War II, and now they're a big defense contractor. But I looking back, I think the only reason they ran that training center, because they don't have any of the training centers in their business, was to get a foot in the door up here in Alaska to put a bid in out at Elmendorf on the C-17 maintenance contract.
Okay, like a stepping
And
stone, huh?
yeah, and as soon as they got awarded that contract, man, they dropped that training center like a hot rock. So I was kind of out again, looking for a job. All of us were. And a company here in Anchorage that I had done business with while I was down there, um, they did respiratory mass fit testing and drug and alcohol testing and pre-employment physicals. But the president of the company called me up and said, "Hey, we heard you're all being let go from the training center down in Kenai." I said, "Yeah, it's kind of sad news." And she said, "What do you think about what do you think about coming to work for us and starting up a training division for us? Because we don't have training. We have to outsource all of our training for our clients, and we'd like to keep that in house." So I ended up working for them. It was a company called Beacon Occupational Health and Safety Services, and I worked for them for the next 17 years.
Training them in what?
Safety training. So I did a
Okay.
bunch of safety training for not only for the firefighters. I train all the airport firefighters in the state. I give them their training once a year. Um, but Beacon had a lot of clients in the oil field business. So up on the North Slope where the oil fields are.
Okay.
And so a lot of them, they needed training. They needed OSHA safety training and they needed hazmat training, fire safety training, and all that stuff. So I ended up spending a lot of time traveling up there to the North Slope. That's where I decided I didn't really like that. It's not, I don't like it. I mean, I don't dislike it as much as I dislike Baghdad, but almost.
Hmm.
It's pretty regularly up there, 40 below.
Holy moly.
And, people say 40 below. What is that? Fahrenheit or Celsius? It's the same. At 40 below, that's where they match.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a different environment up there. It's almost like being on the moon. You can't go out unless you have like really good suits on. There's no stores or malls or movie theaters or restaurants. It's just all work and sleep and eat.
Ah.
People go up there and work for 12 hours a day. They're usually up there for 2 weeks at a time, working straight through, and then they have 2 weeks off.
I have two pretty good local boy friends that were both Air Force, and way back in the 80s, they were stationed in Shimia, Alaska.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, and they tell you talk about the North Slope and the desolation. He said it was just like being in prison.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
you ate, you worked out, you drank, you know,
yep, yep.
rinse, repeat.
Yeah, it's we call it 2x4 Shemia. The island's 2 miles wide and 4 miles long,
I thought
and it's
Molokai was small.
oh yeah, Shemia is small. Shemia is small, and the wind always blows out there. If it gets down to like 25 miles an hour, it's just a light breeze. It's always blowing hard out there. at their airport, for their windsock, because the windsocks keep blowing away. So for their windsock, they have a big boat anchor chain staked to the tarmac, and on the end of that chain, they got this big 5 foot diameter floating buoy that they use for fishing, and it just blows around in the wind, and whichever way that buoy is away from the stake, that's the way the wind's blowing.
Yeah, uh, they
They,
improvise.
yeah, they have they have cables staked, these stakes staked into the ground and cables that go along the tops of them from building to building. And I always wondered, when I was out there, why do they have all these? And one night I found out, when it blows really bad out there and it's just a whiteout, you can't see anything. That's how you get from one building to the next.
Yeah. When I first got to Minnesota, December 2009, I got here, I want to say on the 21st or 22nd. I'd been in Hawaii. My family had moved up a couple years earlier. I had to liquidate my business and house and stuff. And so I'm thinking, man, I'm not missing another soccer game. I'm not missing another Christmas. I'm going to get there on December 21st. I
Yeah.
land in Minneapolis. Blizzard keeps me there 24 hours. So then I get down to Fairmont here. My daughter and grandkids live 8 miles away. Blizzard whiteout Christmas morning. And I don't know. My wife was raised up here, so she's familiar. And I'm going, well, I mean, can we just go slow? She goes, no, you idiot.
Yeah.
You can't see the front of the car hardly.
Yeah.
And some of the whiteouts I've experienced since then, man, it
Yeah.
just amazes me
Yeah. It's funny
how
up in the
people
North
in the
Slope,
past do.
up on that North Slope oil fields, they make ice roads in the winter so they can get around. So they build roads out of ice that goes out over the ocean and out to their drill sites. And you drive on these ice roads to get out there. And I was in a brand new, this was probably 2010. I was in a brand new Chevy pickup and driving out there. And I just decided I got halfway out to the drilling rig, and I knew I was offshore on this ice road. And I thought, man, I'm going to see how well this OnStar works on this. So I stopped the vehicle and I pressed the OnStar button. And some lady with a southern accent answered the phone. OnStar, do you have an emergency? And it's no, no, not an emergency. I just wanted to see if you could tell me how accurate this was. Yeah, I was putting my location. Oh, it's very accurate, sir. Stand by just a minute. And she comes back on and goes, sir, are you sure you're okay? I said, yeah, I'm good. Huh. Well, there must be something going on with our equipment because we show you 2 miles off the coast of Alaska in the water. I said, that's just about right where I'm at. And man, the next thing you know, she had all her coworkers over there. They were all I could hear them in the background. Look, he's in the water. He's on an ice road. He's on an ice road. Yeah, it was funny.
I've watched just a couple episodes, but they had that one show, Ice Road Truckers or something like
Yeah,
that. So that must be those
yeah,
types of, and that's
yeah,
got to be making a living the hard way, man.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I had to get a little bit tuned up on all of OSHA's regulations and stuff to be able to teach some of OSHA's classes. Um, but it was good. I think I was able to keep a lot of the companies from getting in trouble with OSHA. And so in 2023, Beacon got bought out by an international company based out of Dubai, and in their redesigning their mission statement, they decided the training was not part of their mission. So they did away with training, and that was my job. So I got laid off. And I could have probably just retired at that point and just stopped working. But, I really like what I'm doing. It's almost like not having a job, it's just going to play with fire. And so, and I feel like I'm making a difference by teaching these guys. I got a long time ago, one of my old fire captains told me, He said, the best thing an old firefighter can do for a new firefighter is teach them to become an old firefighter.
That's
And it,
classic, man.
man, it's stuck, it's stuck in my head. So that's kind of what I do now. But so anyway, I decided rather than just not do anything, I started up my own business. And that's what I run now. I'm the owner operator of Greatland Consulting and Training LLC. And so I kind of had a ready-made customer base because all the people I were training, they're like, "Hey, what do we do now?" I said, "Stand by. I'm trying to make something work." So now I've got a bunch of training. I do a bunch of training all over the state. Um, life's good.
Awesome. Now, one question I'd like to ask once I find out, and I've heard this in our conversation, where is your wife from?
So my wife is from San Antonio, Texas. Actually, Kerrville, Texas.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Not having grown up in Hawaii, is your wife an open-minded eater?
Very. Other than she will not eat poke. She doesn't like the texture of the raw fish. But man, everything else, she loves halpia. Man, she'll eat halpia until she blows up. She
That's
can't pronounce it, but she loves it.
Yeah, I find it interesting. Some people really are able to blend that, and some are like there's a rock wall 4 feet high
Yeah.
in that one particular area. They won't go
One of the
near.
things one of the things she had to learn how to cook for me was because I can't get them up here is custard pie. Man, I
Okay,
love the
yeah,
custard pie in Hawaii. And
that's my favorite pie.
every time we go back there, we hit Costco and get a custard pie. They don't have them here at Costco here, but so through trial and error, she has over the years mastered the recipe for custard pie, and man, it's the best custard pie ever.
Awesome,
Yeah, so she makes that. She's a rice eater. She loves spam,
cool.
but
Lao
she's
Lao stuff like that.
she'll eat the lao lao. As the only thing she really won't eat is she's not a fan of kimchi. In fact, she hates when I bust it out.
Put you
um,
over on the porch near the open window.
yeah, her. It's so funny because her son was over here, and I was eating some fried rice that I made, and I had the kimchi and the daikon, and we were just talking, watching football, and she came home from the store, and she walked in, and she looked at her son. She goes, "Paul, you need to wash your feet." He goes, "That's not my feet, Mom. That's your man's food."
Oh
It
my
was
God.
funny. But
Uh,
yeah, so we both just had birthdays. I turned 69 on February 3rd, and she turned 54 on February 6th.
okay, I need to jot that then because I don't think I had your birthday down. So you're born 57.
Yep.
Okay, February 3rd.
Yeah, so our birthdays are pretty close together, so we just wait until one night we celebrate them both. So we went to Benihana for our birthdays.
Awesome.
But she just turned 54, so she got a lot of work left in her.
What is she currently working outside the house then?
Yeah, she works at a for a native corporation up here, managing a she's a behavioral health administrator. So she has a team of I think about 15 people that work for her.
So behavioral health, then living with you is like ongoing training for her then.
It's on the job training at home. I think I told her, I said, that's why you got hired, man. All the experience you had with me.
How did she end up Texas to Alaska?
So she was in a pretty toxic relationship down there in Texas. She had two kids, two young kids. One was 5 and one was 3. And it was kind of an abusive relationship. And she knew the only way that she would get away from that would be just to move, just to get away from that whole situation. So she had her mom was living in Anchorage, and she moved up here
Okay.
to Anchorage to move in with her mom, and she stayed. She did a really good job. She came up here and ended up getting work and raising her 2 kids by herself. I think eventually she met somebody and they got married, but it was funny. She says, "Yeah, it wasn't one of those deals where you just head over heels in love, but man, I really needed him at that point in time in my life for my kids, so that they would have a father figure." And then they got divorced, 10 years ago or 12 years ago. But yeah, since then she's gone online, got her finished her high school, got her GED, and then she went to do University of Arizona online um, courses. And I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, she got her bachelor's degree.
Awesome.
Yep.
It's great progress.
And she's always wanted to learn how to fly. Ever since I took her for a ride in my plane, but my plane is really not designed to teach people to fly. It's more of like a sports car, and there's a front seat and a back seat, and the back seat doesn't have all the controls you need to be able to learn to fly. So for Christmas this year, I bought her a little Cessna airplane, and she's going to learn how to fly in that.
Okay. In your experience, because I know the thought has crossed my mind, like I mentioned, when I think about saving travel time, how
Mm-hmm.
feasible would it be for someone to wake up at the age of 68 and move toward learning to
Well,
fly and getting to fly? And
the whole thing probably will depend on two. If you have the money that you can put into getting your license, and people say, well, maybe I can pay a little this year and a little next year and do a little the year after. That usually doesn't work too well. You got to just do it in one chunk. Get your pilot's license, get it done. You can get it done in about 6 or 7 weeks, 8 weeks. But if you stretch it out over several years, you keep having to go back because you forget what you learned that last year. So if you have that time and money available to get your pilot's license, the next factor will be your health, because you have to be able to pass a medical flight physical once a year. And if you can do
well,
those two things, you're good.
as long as they don't kick me out of the school bus, I should be able to
Yeah.
pass the
Yeah.
physical. So
Yep. Yep.
now, before June for the reunion, when was the last time you were in Hawaii before that?
Before June would have been February.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So not
we go
like,
about we try to get down there about 3 or 4 times a year.
oh, okay, good, good.
Yeah, in fact, both of us will be going down there next week, Wednesday.
Awesome. And now that Alaska and Hawaiian have joined forces,
Hmm.
hopefully their programming and structuring for Hawaii Flyers is friendly.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I think that was the intent when they bought Hawaiian Airlines. Hawaiian Airlines was in pretty rough shape financially, and the idea when they bought Hawaiian Airlines was to keep Hawaiian Airlines going. So I think I read where they've put $600 million recently into keeping the Hawaiian Airlines brand in the islands and all the stuff that goes with it. But obviously, when you buy another airline, some of that stuff's going to get absorbed, so you're not duplicating everything. But I think as much as they can, I think they're going to keep the Hawaiian brand because they realize it's important to the business and the people in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I don't like what they've done with the mileage program and the I think the mileage program is going through some rough spots right now, but maybe it'll smooth out.
oh, there's probably got accountants figuring it all out, going, can we make this work? Will we survive? Because
Yeah.
mileage programs are like warranties. I mean,
Yeah.
they
Yep.
can make money if they're set established well. So
Yeah, and for my business, I fly a lot. I I fly. I think last year I had 104,000 miles on Alaska Airlines.
Wow.
So it's kind of crazy. But I go to Hawaii on Wednesday. I come back and then I fly down to Ketchikan 2 days after we return for a job down there, and then a couple of days after I get back from that, I go down to Dallas, Texas for a meeting.
During our conversation, you mentioned a place, Kenai. Am I
Kenai,
saying Kenai? Is that a
Kenai. Yep,
native word?
yep.
Sounds
It's from the Kenaitze Native tribe,
okay.
and who settled that land down there. And they're still pretty prevalent down there. They have a lot of stuff going on, but they shorten it up to Kenai. Kenai is
Because it
probably it's the
almost
world.
sounds like it could be a little spot on Maui someplace.
Oh, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of that up here. But Kenai is where I work at the training center. We're about a mile and a half from the Kenai River. The Kenai River is probably the best salmon fishing in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, so summertime fishing's the mission.
Are you an avid fisher person?
Well, I used to go a lot. I used to go fishing a lot, but my time right now is just I don't have a lot of free time. So I do most of my fishing at Sagaya. It's a local, it's a fish store. They sell. That's where I get a lot of my fish, and I can buy lau laus there, and I can buy my
Oh,
kimchi and
wow.
daikon, all that stuff. Yeah, it's got big Hawaiian presence. And as far as my fresh Hawaiian fish, I get that flown up from Hawaii.
There you go.
So I have two brothers. I have two brothers that live there in Hawaii, and one of them's the vice president of Garden and Valley Isle Seafood. So
That works. That works.
I, I get a FedEx care package once a month that usually has a big block of ahi and some mahi and whatever kind of other fish they decide to put in there. And then
That's awesome.
I'll send them down some fresh halibut and salmon.
There you go.
Yeah, it works
Fill
out good.
fill the voids on both ends, huh?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, but we got, good fishing up here. I, the first king salmon I ever caught, it was 63 pounds. And I thought I was snagged on the bottom until it took off running. So fought that fish for almost an hour to get it to shore.
Wow.
But and then I caught a 137-pound halibut once. That was kind of cool.
And they must be a different kind of fight because of their shape and how they.
Yeah, it's just like if you could imagine trying to like lift Akibono up to the second floor with a rope, that's
Yeah,
kind of like it's
or
kind of like
pulling
what
a
it is.
tire in that's tied to a rope or something,
Yeah, yeah,
just drag the whole way. So,
yeah.
golly.
And they slowly but surely get them up, and then you look down there, and there's just this huge fish under the water that you got to get into the boat. And they're the strong fish. So when they're that big, 137 pounds, the first thing you do is the captain of the boat will get out there and get his handgun. And when he's close enough, he'll shoot it in the head 6 times and then get the gaff it and start bringing it up. Otherwise, if you don't kill it before you bring it in the boat, it will just beat your boat up.
Well, I can imagine. I can
Yep.
only imagine. It pays to know.
Yeah. Yep. But I also one of my other hobbies that I do up here is I built a drag race car. So I drag race in the summertime,
Like a
almost every week.
rail.
It's not a rail; it's an old 72 Dodge Demon.
Okay.
I took a motor out of a 78 Winnebago and tore it down and rebuilt it, stuffed it into that small car. And it's fun.
What's the displacement on a Winnebago engine?
The one I got was 440 cubic inches.
Oh, wow. My God, does that car even have enough weight to stay on the ground as you're going
Oh
down the?
yeah, yeah. It's I mean the engine's pretty heavy, but the car itself's about 2,800 pounds. But it's fun. It's we do bracket racing, so it's pretty competitive. I have 32 people, I think, last season that were raced in my class, and I ended up taking third place.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm the only car up there that has Hawaii license plates.
I can imagine. I
I
can
got
only
I got
imagine.
my when my dad passed away in 2006, I inherited his Dodge pickup truck, had it shipped up here, and so I took that dad's rear license plates off that Dodge pickup and put it on my race car. So he's kind of with me every time I go down the track now.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yep.
Well, it
And as
sounds like
what's
your
funny?
life is moving and grooving, man.
What's really funny is that, and I'm not sure how it is, how it happens, but on Father's Day, we also have a Father's Day race, and I always take either first or second place.
Wow.
Now, the other days, not so much, but Father's Day, every time I show up on Father's Day, the guys are like, well, what's it going to be, first or second today? I don't know.
Oh boy. Yeah, well, I'm glad we hooked up, Bob. I
Me
mean,
too. Me too.
I reach
And
out
then,
sometimes. It's kind of like catfish fishing, I'll have the line in the water for a while and finally it'll
yeah,
come together and then
yep.
zip bam, we're in.
Yeah, I look forward to reconnecting with a lot of my classmates. Hopefully, all those friend requests that I sent out, people see your video and say, "Oh, that's who that is," because
Awesome.
they don't know Bob Lee.
Yeah. I mean, it would really probably throw a person up. And I look and try to pick out the features of the high school dentist league
Yeah,
and I get nothing.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I don't I keep thinking, could
yeah,
I have passed you on the street and recognize you now?
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, I've changed a lot. Like I was saying in high school, I was pretty reserved, and you know, my friends were all in the band. Just me and Haunani and David Valenti and Earl Kealoha and Ruben. Man, we had a good French horn section. Yep. But Michael Crabb, Peter Kang, Pokey Ellis, Doug Panay.
Yeah. And it's nice that we've been able to, because I think we launched our classmate page maybe 2 years ago. I mean,
Uh-huh.
but it's been a good channel for keeping us together. And
Yeah.
this interview series type deal, I've done it for a couple of years with a Midwest Hawaii group that I'm in up here. And
Hmm.
I thought,
Hmm.
hey, that works pretty well. Let me see if I can get some classmates on board. And I mean, wow, I've been fortunate
Yeah.
to get a good handful. So,
Yeah.
and it's nice to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a good friend up here. He opened up a Hawaiian food restaurant, and it's the only one that we have in town. It's called Hula Hands, and they
Good
sponsor my
Hawaiian
race
name.
car. Yeah, they sponsor my race car, by the way. And so I went into his restaurant when I first saw it back in probably around 1988 or 89. I noticed it. So I stopped in there, and the owner was there at the cash register. And I said, "Oh, man, you guys get good Hawaiian food." And he goes, "You try them and you let me know." So we introduced each other. Turns out he was a Kamehameha class of 71.
Wow. Like you say, it's really not, it's a small world.
Yeah. So, but he just passed away. He passed away in December. Had a heart attack, and so
Mm.
it was kind of sad. In fact, we had a big memorial service for him up here about 2 weeks ago, and then today Actually, as we speak today, they're having a service for him in Hawaii. So we have a big Hawaiian group presence, Hawaiian and Samoan, but we have a civic group up here called Nakeki o Hawaii,
All
and
right.
so yeah, we have there's a lot of Kamehameha grads in that group.
So you guys do the potlucks and
Yep,
the
potlucks we do once a year. They do something called Aloha Days, and they'll go down to one of our big malls, shopping malls, and set up a big. It's just a big. It's almost like the flea market at the stadium, and then live music. We got some people that play live music and the hula dancers, everything.
that was me and wife may remember they do that quite a bit in San Antonio from the cultural side. So
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
put on lots of big events and it's grown. I left there in 94-ish, I think. And, in the last 30 years, man, it's grown, but also that Hawaii
Yeah,
Presence community is huge now too. So,
yeah, and my wife, she has got me wearing matching outfits now, which I never ever imagined I would ever do. I was like, man, that's so Holly. That is so Holly. But now every time we go, we wear matching outfits and stuff. Because we were getting ready to go to my niece's wedding at Kualoa Ranch down there. First time we went there, and she had to get a dress for the wedding, so we went shopping at this spot down in Waikiki, and this Japanese lady was helping her, and so she brings this dress out. She goes, "What do you think? You like it?" I go, "Yeah, that's good. That's a good dress. Yeah, I'm the typical guy that goes with his wife to shop. Yeah, that's good. Get it." And so the Japanese lady, she goes, "How about you? You want a shirt?" I said, "No, no, I'm good, man. I got a shirt to wear. I'm good." "No, no, you wear matchy matchy." I'm like, "What?" "Yeah, matchy matchy. Here, what size? What size?" So next thing you know, man, this lady's got me like putting a shirt on, and man, I put the shirt on and not happy. Standing there next to my wife. My wife goes, "Man, that looks really good. That looks good on you." I said, "All right, man, if it'll make you be quiet, we'll buy it." So bought it, and then from then on, man, it was matchy matchy every time we go somewhere.
but I think it can be subdued by keeping the print maybe more authentic looking than gaudy,
Yeah, yeah,
because that's the
yep,
part that really, just
yeah,
kind of pushes back
yep,
when you see it. You go, oh my God,
yeah,
I
yep,
wouldn't wear
yep.
that unmatched, unless I was
Yeah,
drunk or something.
yeah. But anyway, we got married on February 22nd of 2022. I picked a date that I wouldn't forget. So, it was 2/22/22. And we got married there at the Royal Hawaiian Golf Course in Montevideo.
All right.
So it'll be fun. We'll celebrate our wedding anniversary, our fourth wedding anniversary when we get there this month.
Good job. How
Not
long are you
sure
going
what.
to stay?
I think this trip we got scheduled for 10 days because I gotta get back for work. So most of the times we go for 2 weeks or two and a half.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what we're gonna do for our birthday. Something different. We might go skydiving. I don't know.
Have you been before?
Neither of us.
I got that in my
But
bucket list too. So,
I've taken lots of skydivers up and had let them jump out of my airplane, but I've never had the urge to jump. And she is like in my ear, "We should try it. We should try it. We should try it." So I think we might go up to Dillingham and do it this time.
fantastic.
Yeah. You only live once, right?
That's it, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't want to, like we talked about a little bit, don't want to have any regrets along the way.
No, no, no. And, man, I like to connect with my friends and be able to see them. One of the reasons I kept working is because all my friends up here that when my age, they stop working and 2 years later, we're all getting together and seeing that person in a box, and I'm like, I don't want to be that guy, I would rather be seen, not viewed.
Well, I've heard that there have been actual studies where, especially with a military-based career,
Uh-huh.
when you stop, you got very little time left.
Yeah. 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 I think, as long as you're healthy enough that you can keep on doing it, I think you should keep on doing it. I started going to reunions 4 years ago, and that's what really drove me to make my 50th with the Kamehameha. But once a year, we go to a retired Air National Guard Fire Chiefs reunion. And we just pick a city in the lower 48 and we go. And once a year, I go to a Elmendorf firefighter reunion, which is a reunion of all the guys that worked at Elmendorf in the fire department. And same thing there, we just pick a city and go. And man, it's been so much fun because you get to connect with people and keep up to date with what everyone's doing. And with my firefighter reunion, it's kind of funny because we all worked together 40 years ago, 45 years ago, and we're all the same. We haven't changed, except the stuff that we want to do, we can't do anymore.
Yeah, it's nice when you have a good core group and you can, you know, I'm I don't know about other class years from Kamehameha besides others, but the cohesiveness our class seems to have
Mhm.
just almost seems abnormally high.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Like
we had a good class. Man, we had, even when we were in school, we had a good class. But
so.
I look forward to being able to connect with a lot of them that I haven't seen in so long, and try to make up for some lost time.
Yeah, and they're trying to put them closer together. I think Jeff Noah's working on some kind of Vegas one right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've got my fingers crossed. I'm working personally toward the Japan cruise in October. So, we've never been on a cruise and, I don't want to run out of time and look back and go, well,
Yeah.
we're not going ever now. So, anyway,
My wife's been trying to get me to go on a cruise for years. We've been together for 10 years. We've been married for four, but she loves going on cruises and she tries to get me to go on a cruise. I'm still just not yet convinced that that's what for me. I just I have this feeling that when I go on a cruise, it's going to end up being a Poseidon adventure.
hey, but you're the safety man. So, I mean, they're covered.
I know people, they go, I can't believe you're a safety guy and you fly an airplane you built in your garage and you race a car that goes 100 miles an hour in 10 seconds.
Sounds good.
Yeah, you got to live.
That's it, brother. Well, thanks so much for sitting with me, man. I had a great time.
Man, I'm glad you got a hold of me, Kermit.
Good. And maybe help me put a bug in Earl's ear. He tells me he's shy, and you and I both know he's not a shy guy. So
He's not shy. He's
he's
not
just
shy.
he's got to sit down with me one of these days. I'll keep after him.
Yep, yep. I'll talk to him too.
Okay. Brother, take care, be safe, and we
All
will
right,
catch
mahalo.
you next time around. Ahui ho.
Yeah, man, you're doing a good thing here.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Mahalo, bro.